All right. No joke today, guys.
There's a podcast called Between Two Slabs. They consume mass media. It seems so sad. It's the great curator and Merlin. They can't grow pubes, so they gotta wear a merkin. They got no money, so I guess they gotta share. Just two nerds wishing they could grow body hair. Comics, cards, and toys, nothing that would interest you. It's the podcast that nobody listens to.
What's up, guys? Rise and shine. It's Merleworld Card Time with Dan, the great curator. Sorry, just told Dan I'm a little disheveled today. Someone stole my wallet at the Panda Express in Sherman Oaks. I have no clue. I've watched the cameras forever, Dan, and I saw myself put it in, but it definitely fell into one of the booths. Unfortunately, the side of the booth that I was on is not on the camera side.
Yeah, so that's why we're a little bit late, guys, today. Well, I was late.
Shoot, what?
Also, Merlin was telling me this story. So Merlin's a little bit down today. He's going to try to keep it together because it's a very important episode. A lot of news to talk about. But, yes, we do feel bad for Merlin. So hopefully that works out. You canceled all your credit cards. You did lose a little bit of cash, so that really sucks. But, appreciate you still making the time to do the show today because if it was me, I would have canceled. I would have canceled everything. I would have said, F it, I'm done.
No. So sorry. So excuse me if I'm looking at my thing, but I'm texting back the Advantage people for American Airlines to because I had to get online or had to get on the air and tell them that they're trying to do it for me right now. So excuse me.
Okay. All right. So to lessen the burden for Merlin, I'll try to do most of the discussions tonight while he's sending text messages on his phone. So today's episode, we got a lot to talk about, guys. We do. To review the Burbank card show. So we will talk about that. Obviously, we must talk about the Cardporn Michael Jordan jersey scandal. And then we're going to be doing a brief preview into the upcoming Dallas show that's happening this week. So a lot to talk about for sure. But before we get into any of that, let's take care of business. This is what keeps the lights on, guys. We must talk about the sponsors of our show. We are contractually obligated to give these guys a shout out at the beginning of the show. So Merlin, while you're doing that, I'm going to take care of this for us. The first sponsor that we're going to talk about is Veriswap. Veriswap was a big sponsor of the Burbank card show. They had a nice presence there. If you guys don't know what Veriswap is, it is a trading platform app that you can use on your phone. Basically, what they are is they are a middleman service for you to conduct trades online. So if you're doing a deal with somebody, we used to do deals over Instagram and Facebook. The big problem with doing that is sometimes you get scammed. You always have to do the thing where you do the legit check where you coin your card and you have to worry about paying with goods and services so that you don't get scammed. You don't get like an empty box or something like that. Veriswap is the solution to that. They are a trading platform. You put all your cards on there. You search around. You search people's profiles. You find a card that you like. You negotiate a trade, your cards for their cards, and then you send it to the Veriswap middleman home base. They verify and confirm that the cards are the way that they're represented to be through the through the trading app. Then they send them each out individually with insurance and tracking. So it's an extra layer of peace of mind that you're paying for. The fees are very reasonable. I think it's like 1.5% per side for the total trade value of it. So yes, we don't like fees, guys, but just think of it as insurance. Peace of mind. They do also have their own insurance for the cards, so you get full protection if you're going to do any of these trades. You can even do cash trade deals. They have a cash component from their app where you can add cash on top of the deal, but I prefer just to do all trades. And they have a lot of cool data features. They have like eBay comps that you could check. They have searches. They have all these different tools within the app. So go check out their app. Go look at the show notes below. Use the link to sign up. And I think you get some free trade credit. Plus that gives us credit so that they know these sponsorships things are working for us. And then what else do I want to say about that? You can trade all sorts of things. Cards, wax, Type 1 photos, raw cards now, all sorts of stuff. You can use their platform for that. And they have a lot of new features that they're coming out with. Plus, they're always doing giveaways, guys. So make sure you take advantage of their giveaways. Veriswap, they are a sponsor of our show. So we want to make sure that if you want to support us, please support our sponsors. Download the app below. And if you ever talk to them, tell them that Dan the Great Curator, Merlin, Merleworld Cards, and Between Two Slabs sent you. So that is Veriswap. Second sponsor that we'll talk about is Slabmags. You guys know that I am Mr. Slabmags. I put all my top cards in Slabmags. They also had a very large presence at the Burbank Card Show this weekend. Big booth, sold out of everything. They were debuting new mag colors, new products. If you guys followed my Instagram story, you saw that I had the prototype of the comic book Slab Mag. It's huge. It's awesome. I can't wait for that to debut, but that's just a prototype. Everything else, guys, it's also, if you want to basically enhance the display of your slabs and you want to protect them, get yourself a Slab Mag. Protection on both sides of the card, UV protection, and just the ability to color match for all your favorite cards. So check them out. We have the code Curator in the bottom here. You can see the discount code Curator. Use that on their website for 10% off, and check them out. Slabmags, big sponsor of our channel, big supporter of us for the last couple of years. So if you want to support us, please support Slabmags. Okay, now that the business is out of the way, Merlin, are you ready to talk about Burbank Card Show?
Yes, let's talk about the Burbank Card Show. I am listening, guys. So
okay, so real quick, so
Dan.
This is going to be an interesting conversation because you have two sides of the coin here. Merlin did very well at Burbank. I did not do very well at Burbank. So you have two sides of the story here. We're going to be transparent, talk about it so you guys can hear it. I'm going to give my honest assessment about what I think about Burbank, what I liked about it, what I didn't like. Merlin's going to do the same because I know that the promoters watch this. I know EJ, Jay, they are watching this, so they will hopefully they won't get too upset with us. But let's start off. Merlin, why don't you, if you're ready, why don't you tell us about your experience at the Burbank Card Show, and to give people a comparison, if you can try to compare your performance at Burbank versus the National, that will give people an idea of the scale of this show.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was great. It was great and all. I mean, it's not as big as the National, but I did even better than the National because I brought much more Type 1 through 4 photos, mostly ungraded, unslabbed, but I kind of knew it. I had them in a box at first, I think like the first day and a half. Then I decided, after I was talking to Dan and some other people, that I just took them all out of the box because I only would sell like 1 or 2 per day. And I think either by Friday night or Saturday, I just took them all out and put them on the table. And I sold a lot after I did that. So that helped a lot. I sold a lot of wrestling, music cards, pop culture, Three Stooges, all kinds of stuff. And then the clearance section. Since we are Los Angeles, I was able to bring all the cards I've accumulated throughout the years. But I haven't brought them with us to like Dallas or something because, for $1, $2 cards, it's just not worth me putting in my suitcase. Too much heaviness at that. But I was able to clear a lot of my discount cards. It started off like Thursday. There wasn't that many people. I think that was the VIP night. Correct, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah. But I did sell probably like the last hour. Friday was like the same thing. Friday was also kind of slow until like after 12 or 1. So maybe people were, not coming till after work in school if they were having that on Friday. But it was more, not a Memorial Day weekend. It was a Labor Day weekend. But by nighttime, I did very well. Even sold some big photos at the very end. Saturday was crazy. You and I didn't even get there. Like Dan said, it was Showmageddon. It took us almost an hour to get into parking. And then we got something to eat. I got us something to eat because I figured we're not going to have any time to go get food after that. And it was super busy. Sunday was kind of dragging again. And I think people were hungover and stuff until about 1 o'clock. And it was over about 4 or 5. But, I was very busy. The only thing was I didn't really have many people bring me items to sell, which is surprising because usually that's what people always do. So, but I can't complain. I did very well selling. The photos were a hit, my pop culture photos, while most people are buying type 1 of sports. I am buying music and pop culture stuff, and it was a huge hit. So I'll be bringing that stuff more and more, but it takes up a lot of room and they're very heavy. But I did very well. Try to help Dan sell some stuff this time. But it happens. It happens to me sometimes, and Dan does great. I mean, I had a great show at the National, but Dan, I'd say I would give it an A, but I think Dan had an A+ show at the National. Correct, Dan? Would you say that?
It was the National was my best show of the year in terms of sales and money that I made and everything about it. So yes, the National is the best show of the year. I haven't done many shows, to be honest. I've only done.
No, you haven't.
I've done 2 Dallas shows this year and the National, and then this. So I've only done 4 shows, I think, if I can remember correctly. Maybe, like 4 shows this year. So you had a great show. Your stuff killed it. Me, on the other hand, unfortunately, it was my worst show of the year. Probably one of my worst shows ever. This show.
No.
Yes, in terms of sales, this show is worse than Toronto and Chicago of last year for me in terms of sales. I didn't sell one slab that was over $50. I didn't sell anything. All my sales, almost like 95% of my sales were from my dollar box of all the weird stuff that I was bringing. So it was definitely a struggle for me. I just feel like, but I feel like to me, if it was like a local show, it just felt like a really big local show because the type of people that were coming here were all from Southern California mostly. And they're just like casual collectors where they were buying things out of my dollar boxes. They're not going to spend $1,000 on a slab of a pop culture card, but they will spend $20-$30 on like 5-10, a couple dollar cards here and there. So that's how I felt. And honestly, like, I'm going to give credit where credit's due to the Burbank Sports Cards team. They organized everything. They were, the show was top notch in terms of organization, in terms of the venue. Everything was good, except that for me, just my stuff was not a hit at the show. And I think that's not a knock on them per se. That's just my stuff didn't hit it this time. The stuff that I did sell well, though, out of the dollar cards, if you take away, if you just focus on the stuff, I mean, the K-pop cards killed it. The Hello Kitty cards killed it. Marvel cards were very popular. So all the alternative weird stuff that I've been buying, that did move. A lot of my stale low-end inventory moved. I got rid of a lot of junk things that I've been carrying around for a while, things that it's hard for me to move at other shows.
Exactly.
So in that regard, I view it as a success for myself. But personally, I just think that the SoCal crowd here is very tough for the stuff that I deal with. And I was analyzing this in my head. In Southern California, which I believe is the best card market in the country in terms of just activity levels, Southern California is about sports card flipping. You got a lot of flippers here that are dealing with sports cards at all levels, low, mid, and high-end stuff, and ultra high-end stuff. They're all into the flipping game, which means that they're margin buyers. They buy things at like 60 to 80%. They turn around, they flip it 90, 100%, whatever it is. That's the game. That is what the SoCal market is all about. Then you have low-end collectors, casual collectors that love collecting different things, but they're not going to drop thousands of dollars on something for their collection because they're just not going to do that, right? That's the demographic here, I believe. For me, what I've learned is my demographic is the mid to high-end collector. Sports card flippers, they don't come to me at all because I just don't have that stuff, and I don't sell at margins for them. So I have like rare pop culture cards geared towards collectors who are willing to pay up for these items. That's why I did very well at the National, because I think the National was filled with high-end collectors.
Yes.
For things. So I did very well at the National. But at this show, my inventory was either just too pricey for the casual collector, and I just didn't have the sports card inventory to deal with the flippers or anything like that. So that's why I think I did pretty poorly. That's my self-reflection on that. Show-wise, though, as much credit as I'm going to give Burbank Sports Cards in terms of organization, in terms of ambition for starting the show and everything else that they provided, because I know that they watch this, so I want to give honest criticism towards them. Personally, I feel like the show was too big. I
agree with you with that. Yeah,
it was for those of people that were there. It was 2 stories. It was a top level for sports cards primarily. Then it was a bottom level for corporate sponsors and TCG. And supposedly they had 20,000 people walk through the door that weekend. But the venue was so large that it didn't look like it was 20,000 people. Like the tables were set up in such a way that they went as far as the eye could see. Like you could not even see to the other end of the room because there were so many tables there. Over 700 on the top floor, I believe, 700 tables, not counting the bottom level. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot. And when you have a venue that big and you have all the tables spread out, definitely a lot of walking room, a lot of elbow room. Mm-hmm. But everything was so spread out that it makes it difficult. I believe that when people are going in there, you know, it's hard for people to find your table. It's hard for people to make a lap around the whole show and then come back to your table or whatever it is, right? It's just a different type of energy when everything is spread out. It doesn't seem like there's that many people there. And I was taking reels on my on Instagram, and I was posting it, showing how, you know, it was a Saturday crowd and everything like that. And people kept asking me, is there anybody there? It looks dead. But it wasn't dead.
No.
There were a lot of people there. It was just so big. And I think that personally, I think that worked against the show, especially if you were on the bottom level. Every time I went down to the bottom level, it didn't look like there were that many people there at all. So I'm sure certain people were upset about that. Plus, the parking situation was a nightmare on Saturday.
God, yeah.
It was Showmageddon. There was like 3 other shows happening on that property during that weekend. So the parking was just a pain in the ass. I didn't like that at all. I don't know if that can ever really be avoided, but that was an issue to me. So I just think it was just too big. I would rather them have cut the tables out, like 1/3 of the tables out, and kept everything
the rest of corporate up there.
Yeah, put the corporate booths upstairs, cut 1/3 of the table out, and just make more people walk the floor, right? Make more of the local people that usually set up here or whatever, make them walk the floor. It would have been more exciting, I think, if the place was packed elbow to elbow. I think it would have added to the excitement of the whole venue. Having the corporate booths upstairs, having everything packed on one level to make it more convenient, I think that would have been better. I don't knock them for trying to hit it out of the park, especially in the last 2 shows where they've outgrown the venues.
Right.
So it makes sense that they would go that big. But to me, I think it worked against them this time around. And I think I even heard something from the card father that next time they're only going to do 1 floor and put everybody on top. So I think that they even learned from that too. But that's my only real complaint about the whole thing. You know, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I didn't even get to venture downstairs to the corporate level when it was also, I guess, TCG non-sports down there a lot too.
Yeah.
But I went on Sunday, and when I went down there, it literally was a ghost town. The only people down there were the corporate areas. Like, I didn't even see people in line to submit to PSA or BGS. Did you when you were down there?
I did. I did submit to PSA a couple times.
You did, but there wasn't like lines like I normally would see when I was at the other Burbank shows where you'd have a lot of people in line. Like, it was like dead. I didn't see many customers down there venturing around, walking around. Yeah. It was pretty quiet. Like, some of the people we talked to who worked down the corporate level said it was like working in a closed library.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know the whole aspect of running a show, so I don't want to be too critical about these guys.
No. But luckily, it's going to
Yeah.
be at the Ontario Convention Center in February because I guess they have a contract with them. And the logistics of that place, I think, is a lot better than Anaheim. I think Anaheim's a little too big for their britches at this point. But I feel like Ontario logistically worked perfectly for them because we were all on one floor. You see everything. You see everything there. You see Beckett. You see PSA. You see all the auction houses, everything. Like you wouldn't even know that those existed if had not you even gone down the escalator and seen the corporate booths through the window.
Right.
But I mean, it's lesson learned, right?
It was convenient for me. I only live like 10 minutes away, so the location was very convenient for me. But if I had sold a lot, I would have been. It would be a completely different story. If I had sold a lot, it would have been a completely different story. I'd be saying this is the greatest show ever. But unfortunately, that was not my situation.
I know it was. Dan was tired and cranky, and the only time that made his day, guys, was when y'all came to Dan's table and told him like how much he inspired you all and how much y'all watched the show and how much y'all love his Instagrams and all his posts. And that really made his day because luckily he had a lot of traffic of people of his Curator Army fans.
Yeah, like it was cool when people came by to say hello to me. So it was cool hanging out with everybody, It was fun and all that stuff. But from the vendor perspective, it was difficult for me. And I see some people complaining here, Michael, and things like that. You got to understand that this is from the vendor perspective. Okay. If I was just walking the show, it would have been great. I would have been walking up and down the hallways and stuff like that. And I would have had my, a great time, but we're talking from the vendor perspective here. You guys have to understand, right? We're paying $600 a table to set up at this show. And we need foot traffic. We need elbow to elbow foot traffic at our table to be there all the time. We can't have these huge gaps in between where we're just sitting around doing nothing, right? You got to understand that. So that's why these shows, that's why we're critical to an extent of some of these shows if the layout is not conducive to that type of environment. Like at the National, it was like elbow to elbow. Even though as big as the National was, it was elbow to elbow. Everything was on one level. It was not divided. This show, it was different. That's why we have a problem with that. Okay. And here's the thing that I've learned from doing so many shows over the last couple of years. All right. Here's if anybody's an aspiring show promoter, these are the things that you don't do. Number one, you don't have a show at a casino. The big mistake, okay? Because that takes money away from your show. You don't have a show at a casino. It's distracting. It takes money away from being spent at your show. That's number one.
So even if you're in Vegas, that's not a good idea?
No. All Vegas shows suck. All Vegas shows are terrible, okay? Number two, you don't have a show in a mall. You don't have any shows in malls because the traffic that you're going to get there is going to be like looky-loos. They're not going to be there for the car show. They're just going to be walking around looking. Mall shows are really depressing. So you don't want to have mall shows. 3, you do not have split level shows. You cannot have a show in a hotel or a mall where there's different levels or different rooms to go to because you don't want to alienate anybody that's in these different sections and you don't want to split things up. It's just a bad move. And 3, the last thing I'll say is you have to have a show that has ample parking for people, ample parking. And ideally you don't want to charge people to park there because it's just a hassle and it turns a lot of people off. So those are the 4 main things that I've learned over the last couple of years from doing shows. And this Anaheim show, it had parking issues. It had split floors. So that was the only bad drawback from that.
And hopefully parking was $20 and then it cost another $20 for admission. So $40 are by the time you walk in the door.
Yeah. So, hopefully they can improve on that. I know that they're already thinking about the next show. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll do this Anaheim show next year too. And it'll be a lot better they'll work out the kinks, the second time around. But anyways, anything else you want to talk about with the Burbank show?
I mean, do you think, what would be one of your guesstimations that you think you did poorly? Do you think it's because you have more high-end non-sports stuff?
Yeah, it's just not my crowd. Like the fact that I did poorly at this show, I don't think it's on the show itself. Okay. It's just my inventory does not match up with the crowd here in SoCal. And I know that. That's why I don't do the local shows here. You know, I haven't set up at a local show for over a year. You know what I mean? Since I changed up my inventory to pop culture or the things that I buy. So I know that. Just like when we went to Toronto, our inventory did not match up with the crowd that was there. It just happens sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that was all hockey. That didn't work for any of us.
Not necessarily a knock on the show itself, but
no,
aside from that, the feedback is, you know, I just think it was just too big, dude. I just, from a vendor perspective, I just think it was too big. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see about 2/3 of that size. I think if they cut it down to 2/3 of that size in terms of vendors, overall vendors, I think it would be a lot better for them for that. But I understand that there's like economics involved, right? They're selling tables and things like that. And it's a balance between giving a great experience for the attendee versus having a great experience for the vendors. So it's a balancing act, and it's not something that I would even want to try to do myself anytime, but that's just my feedback on that. Anything else?
Yeah. Do you think that the corporate booths will give Burbank a second chance after this?
Yes, I think they will. I think that they'll complain, right, and they might even ask for a discount in the future because of it. But I mean, if Burbank is going to be a destination show the same way Dallas is and some of these other big shows, the corporate booths have to be there, you know?
Right. Exactly.
At least one more time, they'll try it. If it's a fail the second time, then maybe they don't show up. But at least they have to try it again, because Burbank has positioned themselves, even though that this was their third show, only their third show ever. Mm-hmm. They have positioned themselves as a destination show in the country, the same way Dallas has, the same way Philly has, and other shows like that. So I definitely think the sponsors will be back, but they're probably going to want a discount next time or something like that. Because if I was a sponsor and I was spending thousands of dollars to set up these things, and I didn't have the foot traffic that I was expecting or that I was promised, I would be upset too. The guys at Tag, did you see the Tag booth? They had a huge booth where they were grading. Plus, they had a basketball court that they built.
Yeah, I saw that. Did you play?
No, I didn't have time for any of that stuff. So it's just like you spend a lot of money for that kind of stuff, man. That real estate is not cheap. You know what I mean? So if you're expecting a certain level of activity so that you can promote your business, you're expecting to sell whatever products you bring there, services that you provide, and if you're not getting that, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Plus, I don't know if we're really allowed to talk about this, but I want to mention it just very quickly because I feel like we can get away with this if we just mention it real quick and we don't really talk about it, and nobody else talks. Nobody else says anything outside of this podcast, right?
Oh yeah, that's not going to happen.
Nobody clips this or anything like that. But
whatever.
I heard rumors that Fanatics was eyeing to acquire a live event show. Okay, because that was a
rumor I heard too.
Fanatics has announced that they're going to be producing live events, their own card show, and the MO of Fanatics so far has to be acquire businesses, acquire services. They don't start anything from scratch. They didn't start a card company. They bought Tops, right? They didn't start an auction service. They bought PWCC. So it stands to reason that if they're going to go into the live event space, they're not going to start an entire live event. They're going to try to acquire a live show, a successful show. So I think that could be in the works for Burbank, but I think that they need to kind of fine tune their system a little bit better and just work out those little kinks. And I think they'll be primed for that. And if it's not them, who knows? It could be Dallas, or it could be another one of these big shows that pops up across the country every couple years, every couple months, right? Something like that. But anyways, let's not get too deep into the rumor mill because I don't want to out these guys.
You're going to get in trouble.
I know, right? It's just a rumor. I didn't hear anything. It's just a rumor that I heard, okay?
Yeah, we didn't even go to trade nights any night. So if any of you guys watching went to trade nights, let us know how it was for you.
Yeah, I was just like to be honest, I was just like really sour that I wasn't selling much. I did not have the mental capacity to go to a trade night and just try to hustle and make deals. I just couldn't do it.
But that, Dan, that's when you're usually at your best. I've seen when I've gone to other shows and we've sold like one card at the entire show, but you've gone to those trade nights and I've seen you do your hustling and you have your best sales ever because of those trade nights.
I was just really discouraged, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I was really discouraged with the whole with the performance that I had, and since I live so close, I'd rather just be at home relaxing with my family versus out there trying to hustle and make a few bucks. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just,
and he wanted me to come with him to watch Payback, so he watched Payback Saturday night.
Yeah, sure.
After we had
I needed just to unwind and get away out of that environment because it's a different, like the Southern California market is a different beast altogether. It's one of the reasons I don't do local shows here anymore because my inventory doesn't work well. Plus the hustling culture down here of like sports card flippers and things like that. You know, you got to be tough. You got to be really tough to deal with these people because they're all sharks. Everybody down here is sharks. So that's just, you know, I just didn't want to deal with it at trade night and dealing with these people. Like people were trying to get my Jordan off of me, my BGS 9 Jordan. They were trying to get it for like under $9,000 when the last sale was like $11.25, you know, on it, $11,250 on Jordan. And just having to deal with people, it was just it was tough, you know, tough mentally. Plus, like you said, I didn't get a lot of people bringing me any good stuff. I did acquire 2 really good cards. So another positive aspects of this is I was able to acquire a Bret Hart Black Select 101, which is super cool. It's getting graded right now. And I was able to acquire a Hugh Jackman Rittenhouse PSA 10 auto. So those are like amazing cards. But other than those 2 cards, I didn't see really fire come to my table at all. I think one person brought me a Superfractor, like a Star Wars Superfractor. So that was kind of cool. But usually we get like fire that comes across our table, like Superfractor, 1-of-1s, just amazing rare pieces. I didn't really get that. I got a lot of things that I can't use. I got a lot of like low end cards or PSA 9 things, SGC cards, graded cards, things that I can't use in my inventory. I got a lot of that at my table. But I just didn't really see any real amazing cards.
You think like people in Southern California just don't collect or invest in non-sports as much as the rest of the country?
No, I think they do. They're just low-end collectors. They're casual collectors. Okay. You know, not to be offensive to anybody, but like that's just what I saw. You know, I just saw like low-end stuff that I can't use. My inventory is mid to high-end collectibles. Where I cater to people that are building collections that they don't care about margins, they don't care about flipping necessarily. They want the best cards. That's why most of my cards are like 1-of-1s or low pop cards, and that's the niche market that I've kind of catered to. And I don't think that's that's represented necessarily here in SoCal. I think it's more casual collectors and hardcore sport card flippers.
Right.
So anyway, so that's the whole recap of Burbank. Anything you want to add before we move on to the next topic, which is the Cardporn scandal, which I think a lot of people are here to hear us talk about.
Yeah, we talked about that Saturday morning when we were up Friday night. Dan noticed it. I got up when we got up Saturday morning to head out to the Burbank Card Show early Saturday morning. Dan was making me coffee. I opened up my Instagram on my phone, and I noticed there was a post from Cardporn, and it was like pretty much, you know, all text, like a bullet with bullet points of saying like, you know, people have done them wrong and whoever reported them did them wrong.
Let's not get too deep into this because I want people to watch the initial video where we talk about what happened.
I just want to say what the gist of it was. And then the time I showed Dan looked at it, the profile was removed and I couldn't make a screenshot.
Here's a synopsis for you guys, but I want you guys to go back and watch our initial reaction video where we talk about this. We posted it on Saturday. It's only like 16 minutes long or something like that. But basically, here's the synopsis. Okay. Game used Michael Jordan jersey sells at auction. Then it gets authenticated by May Gray Authenticators, which is a game used jersey authentication service. They photo match it to a playoff game, increases the value of that jersey to like over $1 million. the reason they were able to. My daughter came in here. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, go, mama. Go up, mama.
She wants to be a star, Dan. All right. I think Emily wants to get in and holding her back. Hold on a minute. So, guys, make sure before Dan comes back, make sure y'all hit that bell button, subscribe to the Great Curator. So please subscribe to Merleworld Cards. I think after I asked everyone to subscribe to me last week, I lost 20 subscribers. That's usually how it works. But anyway, please have all your family subscribe to me. Here he comes back to tell the rest of the story.
Okay, so basically, turns out that the way that the Maigret authenticators were able to authenticate the jerseys, they received photos from a deceased photographer's foundation authenticating the jersey or tying the jersey to a playoff game. Turns out that the foundation was not associated with the deceased photographer's family. It was made up. Turns out that the photos were fabricated or photoshopped to an extent. So therefore, the whole thing was fraudulent. And the big, what do you call it? What do you call it in a movie where it becomes like a suspense thing that comes out of, right? What's that?
What are you talking about?
When you're watching a suspenseful movie and then you find out who the killer is, what do you call that?
The reveal, the third act.
The big reveal, whatever.
The big reveal, yes.
If you guys know what I'm talking about in the comments, there's a term for it, right? Where it's like a punchline, but in terms of like suspense, right? Anyways, the big reveal is that the person behind the Cardporn account is the one that was supposedly the owner of the jersey, supposedly the one that allegedly, I should say, started the false foundation and allegedly doctored the photos to submit to Maigret. So that's basically the story. This story was broken by Darren Rovell about it. So go to his Twitter account if you want to see all the tweets and all the information that he posts about it, all the articles. But anyway, so that's what happened, guys.
Does he still have them up there?
I'm sure he does.
Okay.
You know?
And how do you spell Rovell?
Rovell.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So and then Cardporn what do you call it?
Deleted his account.
Disables their account.
They're disabled, yeah.
They go silent.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things to dissect here about this. It's crazy. Just the initial on the face of it, the initial shock that Cardporn, which labels themselves as a hobby watchdog, the biggest hobby watchdog in the hobby, over 120,000 followers. They had real influence. If they tweet something about somebody, that person is canceled. Okay, the backlash is instant on that person. If they put out an opinion piece about something, then people take it as matter of fact, the truth. When they, for example, the Cardporn account is currently being sued by 26 Collectibles because a couple years ago, 26 Collectibles put a LeBron James RPA up for sale on Golden Auctions. Cardporn alleged that the patch was swapped out and it was fake. And Golden took down the card, costing 26 Collectibles millions of dollars for that. So they're being sued for that. But that is an example of the power that account wielded. And the mystique around it, right, was that there was no face to the Cardporn account. They were supposedly supposed to be anonymous. I thought it was a group of people that were running it. I thought it was
I did too.
An organization that was running it. But it turns out that it was run by a person that ran different social media accounts, like some type of social media genius. He had like another account called Food Porn. He had another account that had to deal with other type of like social media stuff, but just a really savvy social media guy that started that account. I believe he's from Australia. I don't want to say his name, but I believe he was up from Australia. And, I really never had too many interactions. They did with Cardporn. They did share a couple of my funny reels in the beginning when I was just starting out. So that was cool. That helped me get some followers. But other than that, I never really got never had any type of interactions with them. I never met the guy or anything like that. I never chatted with him, but I just noticed that he did have a lot of power within the hobby, and sometimes he did good stuff with that power. Sometimes he would call people out. Sometimes he would defend people, but other times he would straight up like attack people and say things that were very opinionated for somebody that was presenting themselves out to be a watchdog, right? I remember there's this guy called Patrick Ryan. There's this guy called Patrick Ryan. He goes like Patrick Ryan Collections or something like that. I remember he was getting picked on by Cardporn many different times. And that poor guy, he whenever Cardporn would post something about him, he would get like a lot of backlash and hate. And that poor guy would have to like defend himself. And, sometimes he deserved it. I did have a run-in with this dude at one time before, so it's not like I have a lot of love for him or anything like that. But I can imagine that if an account like Cardporn attacks you and the backlash that you get, I can imagine that it's very tough to deal with, mentally, having just thousands of people leave nasty comments just because somebody else said something about you. You know what I mean? So they had that kind of power in the hobby, and to see them, be associated with this scandal, it's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's some people that followed that account and they believed everything that they said. So this is very shocking to them. There are some people that hated that account. If you look at the comments and you read the comments, there's a lot of people that hated the Cardporn account and they were waiting for this moment. They were waiting to say, finally, I knew it. I knew that guy was bad, and they're piling on right now. So it's definitely a very polarizing story for the hobby. I've got some other points to make, but anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Dan, you've been a victim of postings on Cardporn.
No, never.
Sure. Oh, you never were? I thought we were one time.
What are you talking about, man? The Cardporn, they never came after me for anything. If anything, they made fun of Marvel PFGs, but they never called me out.
Okay, good.
They never did anything like that to me.
Maybe that was Lemmy James. I forget which one it was, where you got a post one time.
Lemmy, you can't take that guy too seriously. Lemmy James, he's different. Lemmy James is different. I know him. I've talked to him. He makes fun of everybody. Nobody is safe from his wrath. Nobody is safe from Lemmy James's wrath, but it's meant to. It's all mostly in just joking around. Basically, he's a ball buster. He's a ball buster. That's what Lemmy James is. Cardporn, that was a different account. They don't make. They weren't joking around. They were either highlighting positive stories, or they were highlighting negative stories, or they were being very opinionated about certain things. Okay, but they weren't you weren't a meme account, so that's completely different. So don't say that, okay? Because that's a misinterpretation.
No, sorry.
I don't want people to think that we have a skewed opinion about Cardporn, because
let me correct myself then, folks.
They never attacked us, okay? To their credit. I'm
glad we got that straight.
The other thing though is that there have been other idiots out there who claim to be hobby watchdogs. There's a lot of Cardporn wannabe accounts, like all those other idiots out there, Sports Car Radio, AIH, Dan the Card Guy. These guys want to be watchdogs, and they wanted to be at that level. And they've talked about us many times, but they don't wield the influence that Cardporn had. If Cardporn really wanted to come at us, it would have been terrible, to be honest. And out of all the people that have talked shit about me over the last couple of years, I haven't cared about any of them. But I can honestly say that I always thought to myself, if Cardporn ever came after me, then I'm out. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could survive that one. All the other idiots that make content, and you guys know who you are, their insults and their defamatory videos against me, they bounce off me. They only make me stronger, basically. They bounce off me like bullets off Superman, and they only made
goodness.
They only grew the legend that is the great curator by them talking about me so much. But I don't think I could have survived an attack by Cardporn. I really don't think so.
That'd be good.
I always had it in my mind that one day they were going to come after me, for whatever reason.
But no,
it never happened. So anyways, my point is that they were a major account. in the card space, and to find out that allegedly they're behind this, I don't know, man. That's just crazy to me. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to this story that has not played out yet. There might. This is all. I want to be clear that this is all alleged. Okay.
Alleged.
I think alleged that these things are true. But the only reason I give so much credit to these allegations is because it's coming from Darren Robel. And he's a journalist. He's a legit journalist. That's how he makes his living. He reports, and he did put together a piece by piece story showing what's going on here. So I give a lot of credit to that. This is not just like some conspiracy theorist making a video on YouTube talking about this. So I give a lot of credit towards that. But it's just, I don't know, like what compels somebody to go to those lengths to try to like commit some type of fraudulent activity, right? I understand it's like $1 million. You go from $26,000 jersey to like a $1 million jersey. I understand that, but I gotta imagine that Cardporn account was worth more than that. You know what I mean? With the type of influence that they had, the type of connections that they built, supposedly they're associated with a lot of people. Like they're associated with Drake, Ken Golden, all these things, right? We saw they did a Cardporn focused golden auction last year where they were auctioning off all their memorabilia, which I thought was very strange.
Whose memorabilia was this? Was this Cardporn's?
Yes.
So someone has direct contact with Cardporn.
Yes, it's no secret. It's no secret. People know who he is. He was at the National, for crying out loud, right? He just doesn't advertise his face on the account. But, there are people that associate with him. There are people who have done business with him, right? So I got to imagine from a overall totality of the circumstances perspective, that account is worth way more money than $1 million. So what would compel somebody to go to those lengths to do something like that? I think that you got to be either a mastermind criminal to have the balls to do something like that, or you got to be like crazy, like psychotic to just think that you could get away with such a activity like that. You know what I mean? It's just it's fraud in our business at the highest level, basically. You know what I mean? And it makes you question, okay, if he did it in that situation, is that the first time that he did it? Because that's a pretty elaborate scheme, to do. Or is this part of an overall pattern of activity that has been happening within the hobby that we just don't know about? You know what I mean? So it raises a lot of questions. And overall, I think that I think it's a black eye for the hobby, to be honest. And I think that there's going to be a lot of domino effects from this. A lot of things are going to happen in the hobby because of this. Okay. Anything you want to add before I go into that a little bit more?
No, I mean it's just crazy. Yeah, go add more to it.
So, aside from the initial shock of everything happening, right? The gossip level of it, of people just being like, "Oh, I can't believe it," or "I told you so." Aside from that, right? There's going to be a lot of things to question going forward, right? Number one, like I was mentioning before, is there any other deals that this person was associated with that are going to be in question from now, right? Like what else was fabricated? Things like that. So I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of stories come out that over the next, month or so of, oh, I did a deal with this guy and I got scammed, or, I was part of this situation and this didn't sound right to me. And now it turns out that this item is not fake. I mean, it's not real or whatever. Right. So there's going to be other stories of things that this person did within the hobby that I think is going to come out. That's number one. Number two, this company, May Gray Authentication Services, this is just like a BBCE situation all over again. This is going to be a blow to their reputation. I think, not, you know, I did a little bit of research on this company. Okay. And basically this company, Maygray, you know, I don't know what they're called exactly. Maygray, that's what they're called. So they're basically like, they specialize in game used memorabilia. They sell game used memorabilia. They host an auction site that has game used jerseys and things like that, which I think could be a kind of a conflict of interest, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And they authenticate game used items by photo matching them. They provide that service of it. But so they hold themselves out to be experts in this field because they've been doing it for a long time, since 1997, supposedly. So I just think that this begs the question. I understand, like, if they get photos and they're able to photo match those photos to the jersey, that's what they're doing. They're matching the jersey to the photo. But now we see that these photos can be photoshopped, right? Is any part of their authentication service, is any part of the service that they're providing is looking at the photos to see if they're real? I think that's a big problem, right? Like, anybody can Photoshop something and submit it to these guys and match it to a real game, and suddenly it becomes game used, you know, to that game. I think that's a big problem. So,
oh my God, I'd be really scared even with AI now.
Yes, and
doing something like this in the future.
That's a completely different conversation with AI,
yeah, but still,
I'm not going to get to that. But, like, you know, so that begs the question about their procedures and their expertise. They're not experts on Merlin. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. You're just fuzzy.
Coming in. Okay.
You're fuzzy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So they're not experts on if a photo is real. I don't think they're claiming to be experts in photography, but they're experts in matching photos to game used items. So I think that this may be a huge flaw in their service, because who knows? I mean, look what happened. And they're not the ones that caught this fraudulent activity. Some guy on YouTube, I think he's in Asia or something. Some dude made a video about this, just like that Pokey. What's that guy's called? Rattle Pokey or something like that, where he made the video about Logan Paul's Pokemon case.
Okay.
Somebody did that on YouTube. So you can check that out, right? So they weren't even the ones that caught this. But once they got called out, they froze the authentication service. But this kind of like begs the question of, like, what type of process do they have in place to really legitimize the service that they're selling people?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that we have to examine that, and kind of like what I mentioned on our last video.
Yeah.
When we did our initial reaction, I think that we have to start questioning the expertise of these companies that we are trusting with these certificates that we get, right? Like the Jordan, let's just assume that the Jordan game used jersey, let's just assume that it was actually game used, and that's not in question at all, which I don't think it is. The only thing in question is what game it was associated with, right? So they submit it to Maygray. Maygray says it's associated with this playoff game, and they issue you a certificate, a piece of paper, saying that that they're, based on their expert opinion, it is part of this game. And that little opinion and that piece of paper is supposed to take the value from $26,000 to $1 million, right?
Good Lord. So
everything is based on their reputation and the little certificate that they gave you with that. And I think that's going to be something that we really need to question, because this is not the only time that this has ever happened. This is not the only time that an item was passed off as authentic when it is not authentic. All right. I know for a fact that all these companies have different experts, different levels of experience, different standards that they go by, and they can differ on their opinions, you know? So like if PSA authenticates something, BGS might not authenticate it. If JSA authenticates something, you know, PSA might not authenticate it. And then all these other companies, I never even heard of Maygray, to be honest. You know, I don't deal in the game used memorabilia space. I never heard of them, but apparently they're there. And I bet you anything, if we did some research, there's probably other authentication services out there that we just haven't heard of. They might be super niche and they might have a certain level of reputation, but it's the same thing. It's like these companies pop up. It's usually the same story. It's usually a guy that has a certain level of experience in the hobby. He starts his own authentication service, and suddenly when he gives you his stamp of approval, that adds value to whatever it is. Just like that company, MBA, Mike Baker Authentication Services. He was like some grader for PSA or something. He starts his own company. He creates a sticker system, a platinum, silver, gold, black sticker. He puts it on your card, and suddenly your card, even if it's a PSA 10, it's worth that much more. It's like these guys, they just create these services, and I don't know like if I don't know if it's really, it's needed for sure, but I'm starting to question the validity of these companies. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. I feel just very jaded by this situation where I don't know who to trust anymore. And the hobby, this is why it's important, Merlin. The hobby is based on trust, right? The whole system of collecting that we have today is based on non-experts, layman people, right? Non-experts coming in and buying something that they don't necessarily understand or have the expertise to understand, but they rely on somebody else to tell them what it is. That's why we have graded cards. The cards are supposed to be authenticated as real. The label tells you what it is. The grade is whatever it is according to the standards. So most people who don't have the eye to see what a card is, whether it's fake or the condition, they can read the label and they know what they're buying. Same thing with authenticated memorabilia, right?
Right.
Most people aren't going to know if an item is game used or not, or if a signature is real or not. So they buy something from a company that has a reputation that they believe in, and they feel like they know what they're buying. But because of this, I feel like now we have to question that. We have to question all these things now. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if there should be one ultimate authority in any niche market, like a game used market, where that one person, if he gives his stamp of approval, then we're good to go. I don't know if that's the case. I'll tell you this story, and then, if you want to add anything to this. So I met this guy, Eric Myers, who works for Alt. I met him at the Dallas show a year ago for the first time. He pulled out 2 Babe Ruth autographed baseballs to me and showed me. First time I ever seen a Babe Ruth autographed baseball in person. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. Then he pulls out the certificate of authenticity, PSA. And I said, oh, that's really awesome. Then he pulls out another certificate from Beckett for the same ball. And I was like, what? 2? Okay, that's cool. Then he pulls out another one from JSA for the ball. And I said, what? 3 certificates? Why do you have 3 certificates saying that this Babe Ruth ball is authentic? And he's like, because it makes the value stronger. Because 3 independent experts have evaluated this ball and say that this signature is real. 3 is better than 1. And when he told me that, I was like, oh, so all these guys are not on the same level. All of them have different opinions. So if you get 1 certificate, it's worth maybe a certain amount based off of that 1 opinion. But if you get 2 or 3, it strengthens the opinion. So there's really no doubt about it. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. That you have different experts, and the more experts that you have to evaluate something, and the more certificates or whatever you can get on it, the more credibility it has, right? So maybe that's the answer to this. We need other companies to compete with their level of expert, but then it begs the question, like, what makes you an expert in any field, right? Or exactly. Whatever, right? But I think that we do need a second or third opinion on some of these really high value items where people are willing to shell out $1 million for a game used item or things like that. You know what I mean? So that's the other part of this is I think that we really have to start to question the process of authenticating items and the level of trust that we put in any single company, even PSA for that matter, right? PSA has their autograph authentication service. Beckett has one. You know, we have to start questioning these people more. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, you and I've had experience where we've had memorabilia autographed by someone, and we sent it to another grading company or authentication company, and they declined it. I think you had a similar something with the Tupac.
You just had the Babe Ruth ball that just came back.
Yeah, exactly. I just had the Babe Ruth ball, the similar experience that you had with Tupac, where it was authenticated by JSA, and then I sent it to PSA, and all my other balls got authenticated except for the Babe Ruth. So I guess now I'm going to try to send it to BGS and try to get authenticated there. And it kind of sucks because I'm selling this on consignment, and my buddy, his mother spent a pretty penny back on QVC for this ball that was authenticated by JSA, and it looks like authentic ball. Even the professional who I gave this to even thought it was the real deal. And he paid for it.
It could be, right?
It could be. Oh,
it's a matter of opinion. And, like one company could give you the opinion that one thing is authentic, and another company could say, no, I don't think so, right? So who do you believe, right? If one company says it's not good, does that invalidate the opinion about the other company? I don't know. It's like the battle of the experts. I'm going to give you like a legal example here. If you're in any type of legal litigation case where you put in an expert on trial, on the stand to make your argument, right? Mm-hmm. Both sides get their own expert that is going to be favorable to their argument. And the expert's job is to basically convince the jury or whatever, the judge, that their side is correct. It's a battle of the experts is what we call it in litigation. So it's the same thing with memorabilia, is that, or anything in the hobby, is like, which expert is telling the truth, right? So that's just something I just think that conversation is definitely going to be had. It's going to be top of mind for a lot of people going forward, because now we can see, and just going back to BBCE, okay? Going back to BBCE, same thing with them. They're like the experts in wax, but they were wrong about that Pokemon case, right? They've proven to be wrong. And as far as I know, there might be another company that authenticates wax, but like they're still the top dog, BBCE, but even they can be wrong about this kind of stuff. So this is just something I think like people are going to start questioning these memorabilia, these game used memorabilia items, because game used memorabilia is really hot right now. You see it all over the auction sites. You see like Golden Auctions. They're all, pumping the game used items that they have on all their elite auctions and things like that. And supposedly that's like the hot thing right now. And people are paying a lot of money for these things. But now I think that we really need to question, especially in the game use space where it all depends on photographs. We really need to start to question, what was the process to authenticate this item? You know what I mean? We cannot blindly just trust a letter of authenticity anymore. We have to understand how they came to that. And I think that's part of like grading too, like grading cards. Tag grading. A big selling point of this new company, Tag Grading, is they're trying to be transparent with how they came to a decision on the grade of a card. I think the same thing has to happen with like memorabilia and game use stuff and everything else, right? What is the process that you use to come up with your opinion about this item? What are the qualifications that you have to make that opinion? And do you stand by that opinion? Are you willing to give money back if it turns out that you're wrong? Somebody can show you, right? Mm-hmm. What kind of guarantee do you have on your service? So these are just things that I think are going to be in the conversation. I want to move to my next point that I want to talk about here. Anything else you want to add?
I mean, why do you think someone who is like the card police in social media in our hobby ends up being a person doing something like this? If that allegedly happened.
Well, that gets me to my next point. That's a good segue into this. Why do I think they did it? I don't know, dude. Like, who knows? You know, I don't know. Like, logic doesn't. There's no way to rationalize what they did other than the fact that they did it for profit, right? But if you look at it, like I was saying, to me, when I look at their account and the power and influence that they had and their position in the hobby, I personally think that their account is worth more, you know, in terms of all things that you can have with it. Maybe they were not monetized. I don't think their account was monetized because I think
really?
they said one time that in order for them to stay anonymous or whatever, their account was not monetized.
Oh, wow.
But they were doing things. They were doing other things. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe this is one of the things that they were doing. But I remember when they had their auction with Golden, they had a specific Cardporn memorabilia auction. All these crazy things. Beatles, Bruce Lee, you know, other autograph stuff. They had all these crazy autograph items, and Golden highlighted it, and they were showing it off on their page and stuff like that. You could even say they were pumping their own stuff, you know.
Right.
They had that. Supposedly they were getting like VIP treatment at the National, getting personal tours, meeting with all the heads. So they were, they were rubbing elbows with people, and maybe that's how they were doing this stuff, right? And I don't blame them for wanting to monetize their account, but maybe that's, maybe they wanted more. I don't know, dude. Like, what makes somebody want to steal something? What makes somebody want to rob a bank? What makes somebody want to hurt somebody? Like,
true.
I don't know. I don't know. Like,
but it's kind of irony, right?
It is, yeah. And that kind of goes back to our first point about like how shocking this is, because all of us, we put, in a general community sense, I feel like we put Cardporn on a pedestal as the number one authority in the hobby for keeping everybody in line, right? The sheriff to keep everybody in line. We put them in that position, whether they wanted it or not. We put them in the position. If you did something wrong, if somebody did something wrong, you sent a message to Cardporn to try to get them to fight for you. You know what I mean? If you became under Cardporn's microscope and they were highlighting something that you did, you're fucked. You're screwed. Okay. Yeah. So they were definitely the authority, whether people liked it or not. They were definitely the authority in the hobby for what they were doing. And now to see that they were kind of doing this is like, I don't know, it's disappointing. But here's the point that I want to make in this segment of the conversation is that I feel like the term hobby watchdog is really, I feel like people are trying to, I feel like it's a status symbol. People are trying to brand themselves as a watchdog, as a hobby watchdog. And they're trying to gain that level of influence and power within the hobby. And I think that's a big problem, because people are making videos, talking about people, sometimes spreading really crazy rumors, and we can see in social media, it affects people. In social media, you are guilty until proven innocent. That's how it happens, especially in this current environment that we are, cancel culture, where people will pile on you, they will take a shit on you, they will try to ruin you if somebody says something about you that other people believe. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of accounts are popping up where they're trying to do that. They're trying to position themselves as an authority in the hobby. And I am victim to this myself. I have all these idiots that make stupid videos about me. Luckily, nobody watches them. Luckily, they have like small followings and they can't stop me, right? But like I have people that try to attack me and unfairly attack me, without knowing me at all, without interacting with me personally, without knowing anything about me. They just they go after me, right? And I'm not the only person. There's a lot of people out there, You guys know. I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to call them out, but like, the videos. If you go on YouTube and you type in whatever it is, search, a couple search terms, you're going to find these guys that attack other people that are trying to be like Cardporn. You know what I mean? And I think that Cardporn kind of set this example. Like, if you can position yourselves as an authority within the hobby to call people out, then you're gonna get fame. Basically, you're gonna get notoriety, fame, influence, and I just think that's stupid. I think that's kind of bullshit how people were doing that. And you can tell who they are. You can tell the people that are real serious about it and have and take their time to do their research and present a well-rounded argument, just like that guy, Rado Pokemon. If you watch his videos, when he called out the Pokemon Logan Paul box case, whatever, he took his time to make a detailed video showing all the steps on why he thought that case was fake, right? And things like that. There are guys that take it to that level, and that's great. And then there are guys that don't. There are guys that just say stupid shit, like the sports car radio guys. I think they've kind of calmed down a little bit. I don't know. But when they were going on their tirades, attacking everybody, they just make up shit. And they just try to start things. And what these people don't realize, and this is the big problem I have, what these people don't realize is that they start like a snowball effect, right? If you can start a rumor about somebody and it can snowball and it gains traction, it can ruin people's lives. You know what I mean? It can cause people to get depressed, kill themselves. It can cause them financial harm. It can cause them harassment, bullying, online bullying, all that stuff. And I think that that's what these guys want. These people that label themselves as watchdogs, many of them don't even participate in the hobby, to be honest. Many of them don't participate at all in the hobby, but they want to reach that status of being a watchdog and calling people out. I think that they just don't understand their the consequences of their action. And the reason that they do it is for self-motivation. So like with this Cardporn account, right? Supposedly this was like an altruistic, selfless, charitable account. But we found out now that there was a self-motivation behind it, right? He had his own interests that he was trying to go. He's trying to make money just like everybody in the hobby. And that was his motivation for doing the things that he wanted to do, or the things that he was doing. And I think a lot of these other watchdog accounts, they claim to be selfless and, all about the hobby. But I think that they have their own motivations. They like I said, they want influence, they want status, they want recognition, and that's why they make that type of content. So I think that this is a good wake-up call the point I'm trying to make here is I think that this is a good wake-up call for a lot of us that put these so-called watchdog accounts on a pedestal. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of guys that just love these accounts. They love to get themselves riled up. They love to watch these videos that these people make or these posts, and they love to create these false grievances in their head, and then they go attack people. Some idiot attacked me at the National from watching one of these accounts.
Who was that?
Old man I told you about. I don't
the one I saw. Yeah. I remember.
Some people love that type of entertainment. They love to be pissed off, right? And I think we really need to look at these accounts and remind ourselves that these guys, these watchdog accounts, they all have a self-motivation. Whether they were wronged in the hobby at some point, whether they're trying to monetize, whether they just want to be famous in the hobby space or whatever, they all have a self-motivation towards it. Nobody is like Mother Teresa in the hobby when it comes to the content space. Everybody has a self-motivation. So we have to just kind of see it for what it is. You know what I mean? Just like with Cardporn, towards the last few months or last year or whatever, when Cardporn would pick on people, you could see that they were very opinionated about certain things. I remember they were making fun of like people that collected graded tickets. Graded tickets is a thing, but they would make fun of them, and saying that graded tickets were not worth anything, I believe. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they said that. I remember a couple months ago, people were making comments about like female athletes or something like that. And, just it's stupid comments. Yes. But like they were threatening to out them to the community if they didn't stop, which is a form of bullying, in my opinion, trying to regulate people's speech and things like that. So, we have to be careful when we look at these people. We have to recognize their motivation, whatever it is, whether it's power, money, influence, whatever it is, we have to recognize them and not put these accounts on a pedestal the same way we did with Cardporn. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, but most definitely. I mean, it's just amen to that. I agree with everything you said, Dan.
All right, so that's pretty much. I know a lot of people have some comments here, and we will get to those comments towards the end. We
got a lot of people.
Yeah, we want to try to move forward with this. We will come back to these topics, and we will get to whatever questions you guys have. Just put them in the comment section. I promise I'll get to it. But
please make sure you leave stuff in the comments, folks. Please.
Yeah, that's basically this whole thing. And here's the last thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap this up. The last thing I think that we will have to watch.
Yeah.
Is I think that there's going to be, just like I was saying, that that Cardporn is a top watchdog in the hobby. Now they're gone. Who knows if they'll come back? I don't see how they come back from this. Okay.
I mean, today and they still weren't there, right?
The hobby is very short-minded, to be honest. The hobby is has a very short memory. Something crazy could happen this week, and we might forget about this next week. You know, honestly, like the next move between Panini and Fanatics could happen this week, and we might forget about this whole thing, honestly. But here's what I think. Here's what I worry about, to be honest. If Cardporn is gone forever, right? If the guy just, and honestly, like if the guy wanted to, he could start a new account and nobody would really know. You know, he could start a completely different account, which is a whole new problem. That's a different conversation to have. But he could come back at another time. We would never even know. But anyways, let's just assume Cardporn is done. I believe that there is going to be a vacuum. You know, there's going to be a hole, or what's the term? A vacuum in the hobby space for this watchdog position, right? Who's the new friendly neighborhood watchdog if Cardporn is gone, right? Who's going to be calling people out and doing this, right? And I feel like there's going to be a power grab. It's like the mafia boss is dead. The mafia boss was a hit. What is it called? Like a mafia hit when somebody gets killed in the mafia. What's that called? A hit? Like something happened.
Definitely, it's a hit for sure.
Yeah. Okay. The mafia boss was taken out. They're gone. So now who's gonna step up and take their position? And I tell you right now, I'm scared of the wannabe, the puppies, the watch puppies that are out there right now. I'm scared one dude is gonna rise from the pack and take that position, and they're gonna be the next authority within the hobby, and they're gonna be talking shit about people and doing all these things, and we're gonna have to put up with it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're main now, so why can't it be you? Why can't you be that guy?
No, I'm not a watchdog.
Why don't you become one?
No, I don't want to be one. Okay. I mean, I don't want to do that. You know, that's not my thing. That's not what I built my brand upon.
Right.
Okay. Me and you, we go to card shows. We buy, sell, and trade. We collect. We make fun content. We're entertaining, things like that. We have a podcast.
Right.
That's not our thing. But there are guys that claim to be hobby watchdogs, and I tell you right now, they're sitting at their meeting, their watchdog meeting, and they're licking their chops, just like Pat Bev. You know, you ever seen that Pat Bev interview with Stephen A. Smith where he talks about Chris Paul, and he goes like,
oh god,
you know what that is?
Yes,
licking my chops, my chops. That's what these idiots are doing right now, licking my chops. They want to be the next. They want to be the next guy. They're viewing this as their opportunity, and you'll see it. They'll make a ton of videos about this. They will make a ton of videos. They will try to get as many views as they can about this out there. And we'll see who emerges, right? We'll see which one of those idiots emerges as the next authority in the hobby for calling people out. But I think that we have to approach that with almost a grain of salt, because unless they're going to be real journalists like Darren Rovell and do research and provide sources and provide a trail that will allow people to understand whatever accusations they're making. Unless they're going to do that, these guys are conspiracy theorists, most of them. right?
Oh,
Unless you're going to become a serious journalist. Maybe Darren Rovell could be it. Maybe Darren Rovell could be the next watchdog. I don't know, dude. But like, it has to be on that level for it to have any credibility. It has to be on that level for me to really to give credit to it, because everybody else that just makes these wild accusations on these weekly shows that they do, these weekly videos, because they want to be consistent with their content, I think most of it is just BS. But
yeah, there's a lot of misinformation.
Yes, a lot of misinformation, a lot of accusation, a lot of finger pointing. There's going to be guys that are going to do that, and they're going to try to take that seat. You know what I mean? They're going to try to take that seat and be the head of the watchdog table and all that stuff. So can't wait to see what kind of garbage content comes out about that kind of stuff.
Garbage content.
Yeah. But that's what it is, man. You know, I would love to see maybe not one person, but I'd love to see, like, you know, a group of people. Like, I could see, I don't know, Darren Rovell and maybe Paul Lesko and maybe somebody else get together and just like get together and break news. Basically, that's what, like, they have to break news and tell us just the exact way that Darren Rovell broke this news. Yeah, that's how watchdogs should act. They shouldn't act, you know, on a quick Instagram post or a tweet and call people out and get people canceled. Like, this whole cancel culture thing within the hobby, I think is bullshit. You know, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, because I think it just lends itself to being an abuse of power within the hobby. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's not what this is about. You know, that's not what the hobby is about. It shouldn't be like, the hobby should not be run by a group of people that just bully everybody else and all this stuff. But anyways, I think I've said enough. Okay. Anything you want to add before we move on to last topic, which is Dallas Card Show? Then we'll get to the comments here.
No, just to sum it up, I agree. We need people who are that are watchdogs, that are legit, instead of misinforming people or saying lies, or, you know, because, you know, there's a lot of slanderness going on in the community as well. So you got to watch out, because you can really, you know, like you said before in the beginning of this topic, you can really, you know, hurt people. You know, this is part of bullying, so you got to watch out and know how to separate the two. Right.
Some of these comments.
Yeah, I know. I've been reading them while you've been doing all your talking, Dan.
Cooter, keep it clean, Cooter.
Cooter. I know the guy named Scooter Poo. This is Cooter.
So, last thing we'll talk about real quick here. This week is the Dallas Card Show. I am going to that. Merlin is bowing out of the Dallas
He's pissed off at me, guys.
So yes, I am upset about that, because Merlin has left me by myself to man the tables. So if anybody's going to the Dallas Card Show and they want to help me out, please come hang out with me. I need somebody to give me bathroom breaks and watch my cases and things like that. But the Dallas Card Show, we did not go to the last one, and supposedly the last one before the National was the best one of the year. So we have to go to this one. For me, I need it. I need a bounce back win from Burbank show. I need to go and kill it at the Dallas Card Show. If you guys are going there this week, please come hang out with me. I have the curator stickers that were a big hit. These were a big hit.
That's what I was going to say. I felt like your biggest sell was your stickers, even though they were for sale. They're free.
People love the stickers, so I will be giving away the stickers at the Dallas Card Show. So please, if you want one of these, come get one. Say hello to me. And just hang out with me, because I need the company, because I'm going to be all by myself. But next week hopefully I can give you a very positive report about the Dallas Card Show, and then I'll be in a way better mood about things. And then, you know, we'll talk about something a little bit more lighthearted next week's show. Anything you want to add to that, Merlin, before we get into comments?
I saw people at the Burbank Card Show trying to flip your stickers, dude.
People were putting them in top loaders and stuff, and like, it was
people
funny.
Trying to grade them.
You know, I'm flattered. I'm very flattered. People were asking me to sign it. People were asking me, giving me Sharpies to sign the stickers, which was awesome. You know,
I saw you doing that. You were signing the T-shirts and everything.
Yeah, so that was a great positive experience. I love that type of feedback from you guys. So thank you for that. So hopefully I get more of that. I need it. I need more of that affirmation at the Dallas Card Show, guys. Please hang out with me, and that will make me happy. Okay. All right, let's get to some of these comments, because we have a lot, and some of these are really interesting comments.
Dude, we have a lot. We've got almost 70 people right now watching the show.
So let's go down to the comment section
Pittsburgh,
here.
Anthony, what's up, gentlemen? What's up, Anthony? Good vibes. Been looking forward to this. Hope y'all had a great show. Carlos, rise and shine. Good evening, Curator Army. What's up? Good evening, Carlos. John Holt, Showtime. Showtime with Apollo. Sup, Chili. Hello. Mark the Collector, one of our favorite wrestling people. Nice one of the Mark or Max Dupree, aka LA Knight Dan. Oh, yes, he's got that one of one wrestling logo. WWE
logo. Radar because he was Max Dupree, Maximum Male Models. To me, one of the greatest factions that never was. So we got this in here. So this is a cool little pickup. We didn't do our mail days. Do you have anything you want to show off for mail days real quick? And just one thing.
Okay, one thing. What the? Okay, let's see here. I did pick up at the Burbank Card Show one of my biggest sells add to the National and at the Burbank Card Show was Miss Taylor Swift. So she's on tour. I know Dan wanted to go to the show, but he went to Blackpink instead. So I picked up this 2010 autograph numbered out of 41 Taylor Swift leaf card. I think I'm going to crack that and send the PSA because they will grade that if I send the label in. So that's what I got. Taylor Swift, baby. Can't go wrong with that. Dan's had a few himself.
Here's one thing I will show off from the mail day that we did back to the comments. This is one of the reasons why I was late. I was getting this. Okay. I got back from the framers. My custom artwork for Matt Mayhew of Spider-Man. Look at this beauty. Look at this. Doesn't it look like a nice, like, fancy piece of fine art? Check that out. Very cool item. The frame looks great. So I got this back from the framer. So very cool. Okay. Back to the comments here.
Okay. Let's see here. Adrian CV Sports Cards. He was at the Burbank show. What's up, guys? He had dinner with us every night. Leo, what's up, Leo? We saw him too. Burbank Card Show this past week was epic. Leo again wearing my Two Slabs t-shirt. Thanks, Leo, dude. It's always great to see you. Carlos, we appreciate you guys making the show. We appreciate you watching. So make sure to leave comments below. Please engage with us, guys. We'll engage back with you all. Dan's get on me. I got to make sure I engage with you guys. But we need some comments below. Please leave the comments. We will appreciate it.
Out, guys. We need to get our engagement numbers up so that we can make our sponsors happy. It's a whole analytical thing. I don't want to get into it, but they care about the engagement level. So please leave comments, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. That really helps us out.
That's right. So I'll keep emphasizing it over and over again because we need your help. Bus stop. Hello from the Midwest. Well,
okay, can we talk about this real quick here?
What's up?
I recently learned that the National has approved Atlantic City for the next show after Chicago. I think.
Or Cleveland.
It's Cleveland and then Chicago.
Then Atlantic City.
Atlantic City. What are they doing, man? Like, what are they doing? Can we?
Because they all live there, man.
We already had this conversation. Like, nobody wants to go to Atlantic City. If you live on the East Coast, okay, go somewhere else, anywhere except Atlantic City. Go to Philadelphia, go to Atlanta, go somewhere else.
I know, right? Come to Anaheim.
Nobody wants to go to Atlantic City. My God, the only reason that they're doing it is this is just rumors, whatever. I'm just going to say it because I'm upset about it. I heard they get the venue for practically a huge discount, if not free, and they pass on that discount to the vendors. They give the vendors like $1,000 credit or something like that. But who cares, dude? Like, to go put ourselves in Atlantic City to pay for those hotels, to deal with all the crime, flying to Philadelphia, driving 2 hours in traffic to get to Atlantic City. It's such a pain in the ass. I'm so upset that they're going back to Atlantic City. And for us, like, if we don't use the table spot, we give it up. You know?
Yep.
You can't, it's not like we can't just skip it, right? We have to go because we need to secure our table spot. Otherwise, they're gonna give it to somebody else, basically. So they're forcing us to go there. It's just a pain in the ass. I'm protesting. I'm protesting. I'm silently protesting this. Not silently. Yeah. I'm whatever it is. They got me over a barrel on this. I can't do anything. I can only bitch about it. But I am upset that they are going back to Atlantic City. But we'll talk about that another time.
I feel like over half the dealers are from west of the Mississippi anyway. So, like, help us out over here. Adrian's CV Sports Cards. It was an epic show. Sunday was great. Once I took my cards and walked around to sell. Yeah, but Adrian, he had to walk around and sell.
Getting back to this Atlantic City, since you started me on this rant.
Oh my gosh, did I really?
I feel like they are the powers that be are predominantly established on the East Coast. They're older.
Yes.
They're an older group of guys. And
they don't want to travel.
They're set in their ways. Let's just say it.
Yes,
they're set in their ways. And since they have the authority and the power to make these decisions, that's the way it's going to be. So we just have to take it. We're tough luck, right? But I used to be in politics in college.
Yes, you were.
In high school and in college, I used to be in politics. So I know how to politic a little bit. Let's
get you on the committee. Let's get you on the board.
I think that, there's enough of us out there. There's enough people that don't want to go to Atlantic City. There's enough people that have tables and have a level of influence within the hobby that we could organize. And we could start taking those positions, those voting right positions in the national, and put a stop to this. So I don't know. I think we need to have a hobby Illuminati meeting,
yes.
between all of us and organize, personally, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think we need Donald. We need Donald, the show locator, on the national board. Okay. We need other people like Sharon, Black Jade Wolf, and all the other people that want to spend their time fighting with all these guys. And we need to get a little bit more West Coast representation on that board so we can pull it back.
My God.
Just have it in Chicago every year. Why do you have to move it? Just if it's in Chicago, I'm cool with that. But anywhere but Atlantic City, okay? So I think that this is gonna prompt a lot of activity within these meetings going forward, and we need to get a little bit new blood in there. That's just my opinion.
Agree. Yeah, we need some more younger people to represent on the board. Now that there's so many young people in the hobby. Emmanuel, hey guys, was awesome meeting you all. My girlfriend and I love the t-shirts. Thanks again. Pleasure, Emmanuel. 25 Perez, hi everyone. Yeah. Emmanuel Delgadillo, I agree, having everything on the same level would have been best. And that's what they're going to do for the Burbank Card Show. Andrew Lee, will the FIBA Basketball World Cup tournament have an impact on card prices? I'm sure people are, you don't think so?
If there's a breakout star, like if there's
exactly.
Like if there's like a foreign breakout star that's about to be drafted to the NBA, maybe, or if there's
is Victor Wembanyama on the French team?
I don't know.
Do y'all guys know? I don't even know this.
I don't know, but like,
to be honest,
if there's a breakout star that's a foreign player that's about to go to him, maybe. If there's a breakout USA star, I doubt it.
As much, yeah.
Here's the thing about let me complain about this a little bit here. Are we not sending our best athletes to play basketball to represent the country? Like, why is Ant-Man, Anthony, what's his name? Anthony Edwards, the guy who goes by Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Is he's like the number one guy on the team? Like, why are we sending Austin Reeves? Is Austin Reeves our best U.S. player to go there? No wonder they lost to Lithuania, man.
Oh, they did?
Can you just take it seriously? Like, just send the best players, okay? I don't know. I feel like today's NBA players, they're just too cool. They're too cool to be in the slam dunk contest. They're too cool to be on the U.S. Olympic team. They're too cool for whatever. They just want to preserve, their recover from the offseason or whatever it is. I just I'm not interested in it. You know what I mean? And the fact that our team is losing out to Lithuania, I don't know, man. I think it's more of us sending our mid-tier players than it is the world competition improving. I just think that. Okay.
Well, I guess they feel like they can do it with those players, but then they don't. OC Sales Online. Donald, can you explain how the show is too big? The National's two
Oh,
and a half
Donald.
times bigger, and the Dallas show is bigger, and it's multiple rooms. I think you've made them mad.
It's too spread out. It's too spread out, Donald. Okay, like I mean, yeah, like the National was bigger, but they had separate rooms. They had like their breaker pavilion. They had their corporate booths. But as far as the vendors goes, it just seemed like it was closer together. You know what I mean? And anybody that went to the Dallas, to the Burbank Card Show, they can tell you that room was huge. That room is bigger than Dallas, I believe. Square footage.
No, it totally is. It's way bigger.
It's bigger than the Dallas showroom. So you can't say that it's bigger than Dallas. Dallas is not bigger. Dallas's tables were 700 plus tables. I think 750 the last time I talked to Kyle about it, the promoter. And from what I was hearing from Burbank, there were over 900 tables. 900 tables, 2 levels, level 1 and a level 5. So there is a lot of distance on that escalator too, and all the stairs. It's just a bigger venue. So,
and I did ask people who were like in the further back area, because we were like in the middle of the front, and I asked people who were further in the back when you and I were walking around how they were doing, how's the traffic, and they were just kind of shaking their head, to be honest with you, because that kind of hits those people further, the ones in the back. And it's kind of that way in Dallas too, but not so bad. Michael, I agree. The split level did make it seem sparingly populated. True. I mean, they acknowledge that. You couldn't hide it. Zup Chili, you guys open any AEW metal? PMGs are on fire. No, I'd love to open some. I couldn't find any boxes, and no one brought anything to me quite yet. But I would love to get some. Dan, did you see any?
I'm not going to open any boxes, but I might buy some of the PMGs. I'm waiting for them to pop up on eBay.
Yeah, CV Sports Cards cliffhanger. No, I don't think that's what it is. Is that what you're talking about? Cliffhanger?
It's not a cliffhanger, but he just reminded me. Thank you, Adrian. The twist, the M Night Shyamalan twist, the M Night Shyamalan twist.
Oh,
okay.
That kind of twist.
So yeah, so this is like a detective story, and at the end, it was the person who you least suspected would be the villain in the storyline. This is the Scooby-Doo moment. Yeah, so that's the word. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you, buddy? Let's see here. What have we got now? Scarred Face. Trade night was great at Convention Center till 11 p.m. The known flippers went to their hotel lobbies. None of the Sharks attended the shows, which is why I went Friday to Saturday and did well.
Good.
I love podcasts. How's it going, fellas? It's going great. How you doing, man? Dexflow Toys. Cardporn will never be allowed in Bullet Club Gold. I love it. Let's see here. Pokey Hollow Sports. Good evening, guys. Rate these shows in order from the best in your opinion shows. Dallas, Burbank, The National, Union Marketplace, and Culture Collision. Dan.
Ooh, that's a tough question, Gilbert. Respectfully, I'm going to respect these people. I'm going to rank these people respectively, okay? Because I know.
Okay.
I'm not like putting anybody down, but The National obviously is number one. The National is it's on its own level. Then for me personally, Dallas. It's the reason that I've been going every 2 months for the last 2 years. Dallas. Then, based on my own performance, I'm Union Marketplace, Culture Collision, and Burbank are almost the same for me. I did poorly at all those shows.
No.
So you've actually gone to these shows more than I have. You've gone to Burbank 2 times more than me, and you've been to Union Marketplace at least one more time than me.
Well, you just had that one big sell at Union Marketplace, which was the Kurosawa.
So you can rank the next 3.
Oh, I'd say definitely, like Dan said, The National. That's unanimous. Then Dallas, then Burbank. And I've done 3 Union Marketplaces and only 1 Culture Collision. And Culture Collision was only good on Sunday for me. And then I found that Kurosawa. They're kind of in tie for last. Union Marketplace and Culture Collision, just because I've only been to one Culture Collision.
You know what's What's kind of like crazy about all these card shows? Like,
what's that?
Culture Collision. I did poorly there too. You know, for the cost to get out there, I lost money in terms of costs and sales. But you found the Kurosawa. I didn't find it, but you found it.
I found it. Yep.
That was positive. If me and you did not go, we wouldn't have got Kurosawa.
No, that wouldn't have happened at all.
Union Marketplace. Again, didn't sell a lot at the 2 shows that I've been to. Didn't sell a lot, but I did sell the Kurosawa at one of them. One sale. Mm-hmm. Changed the course of Star Wars card market history. So you never know. You never know when these things pop up. Like there could always be one shining moment to a show that doesn't materialize until a couple shows later. So you never really know.
Yeah, I mean, I did the Union Marketplace back in the end of March. Dan didn't come with me, and I only went for one day, actually, just Saturday. And there was only half the amount of dealers as there were at the last 2 shows in Del Mar. But the irony of it was I had very low expectations, and all I bought was wrestling because I was just in the mood to get prepared for the WrestleCon when Dan and I went to WrestleMania. And let me tell you, I did better that one day than I did all of the Union Marketplace days combined. So go figure. You never know. There's no consistency.
You just make the most of it, you know?
Yeah. Junior, for sure, this is a pattern. He must have done lots of other things. This is in regards to card porn, right? Things like this really, really hurts the hobby. Who can you trust? What's real? What's fake? What's really authenticated?
Let me tell you this story. I don't think anybody has ever heard my origin stories within the hobby, but
your origin story.
When I was in the 90s, I was collecting as a kid, and the thing I collected most.
What was that?
Memorabilia, sports memorabilia.
Oh, really?
I was very, as a 10, 12-year-old kid or whatever, I was very knowledgeable about sports memorabilia at that time. It wasn't on the level it is today, but it was like, you know, I would go to shows, I would get autographs, I would go to places and buy different autographs. And as a kid, I was trusting of everything, right? And I remember I would go to like shops, card shops, and they would have their memorabilia, and I would buy the memorabilia from them, and they would come with their own letter of authenticity. It's like Joe's baseball card shop. I just use that as an example. Okay. There's an actual Joe's baseball shop. I don't know, but Joe's baseball card shop certifies this baseball as authentic signature of whatever, Mike Piazza or whatever I collected back in the day. And one time when PSA started to authenticate things and people started to get the PSA certificate, I remember turning in some of my game used baseballs because I collected baseballs back then.
Okay.
And PSA rejected them. I had a Willie Mays and an Ernie Banks baseball, autographed baseball that they rejected. And I was like devastated. You know, I was devastated that I had spent my hard-earned money as a kid on these baseballs and that they came back as rejected, you know, fake or whatever.
Okay.
And it jaded me to the entire memorabilia business because I looked around, I was like, oh my God, all these places that I've been buying memorabilia, it's fake. You know, like I have no, like you didn't have PSA certificates back then. You didn't have Beckett.
No, you didn't. Nope.
JSA. You know what I mean? So those companies were just coming up. And it turns out that I was just buying these autographs from the shops that were giving me their own certificates. And it turns out that most of them were fake. I would say this. Most of my autographs I think were real, but some of them did come back as fake. So it kind of like jaded me to the whole memorabilia business. And now here I come back 20 years later and I'm thinking things are more organized, things are more systematic, things are more credible. And then shit like this happens, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a dark cloud on the hobby business. Like, and I don't think it'll ever go away. You know, I don't think we'll ever get rid of fraud and fakes and
right.
You know, all this other crap that goes around the hobby. It's always going to be a cat and mouse game between the fraudsters, the criminals, and the authentication companies. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I would seriously question everything going forward.
What we got next here? Junior again. What's that, Dan?
You already answered this, but go ahead and read his question.
Okay. I have a question for both of you. As the great curator, Merlin, with all the memorabilia that you have in card autographs, do you feel that everything you have is truly authentic? I mean, we always think everything is, but sometimes you get a nice surprise and it isn't.
I have to operate as if everything I have is authentic because I buy it believing that it's authentic based on these companies and their reputation. So to me, until somebody proves to me otherwise, until somebody makes a video of one of my items or whatever and says that it's fake or whatever, okay, and it's proven and the authentication is frozen, like it wasn't in this Jordan jersey case, you have to assume that the things that you have are real. But if I were to purchase something in the future, I would definitely question, I would definitely want to know how this item was authenticated if I was going to drop serious money on it.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, we have an issue, with the grades being authentic half the time too. You crack it somewhere else, you get totally different grade that's not even close to what you had before with the other company. So it's. Can
we talk about that real quick? I just want to pose this question. I don't want to get into this thing because it's going to be a half-hour conversation. But
go ahead. We'll do it the next one.
Does just like with this Jordan jersey, right? Game used jersey sells for $26,000. You give a letter of authenticity. You photo match it to a playoff game. Suddenly, it goes to $1 million. What? Okay, so you have. Let's just say you have. All these people are doing this crossover grading. You've got like a BGS 9, BGS 8, you cross it over to a PSA 10. It's the same card, right? But suddenly the value increases dramatically. Like, does anybody ever stop to think? Like, I know this is our game. I know our game is based on the labels and the grades that are assigned to those cards. But does anybody ever think like all you did is cross it over and get a second opinion on the card, and that dramatically increase the value of it? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I play the game. I will take advantage of it for sure. I'll cross over things as much as I can, and I'll take advantage of the market value of those things. But I just feel like it doesn't make sense that it's like you're trusting another authentication service's opinion about something, and that increases the value of it. And that opinion can differ from another company, So I think that we need to start having those conversations about who has the ultimate authority here. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Anyways.
Emmanuel, Disney Lorcana priced based on hype, or is it the real deal? The art is awesome.
I have not gotten into Lorcana yet. I have not got into it because there's been too many things going on. I still need to get some Star Wars Galaxy Chrome. I haven't even touched that yet.
No, we have not.
So I can't really comment on it. Do I think it's hype? Just like every new product, it is hyped. Just like every new product, there's going to be a race to get it, a race to grade it, and a race to sell it as quick as possible, first to market. Then there's going to be a leveling out or a correction on the price. But do I think that Lorcana is a fad? No, I think it's here to stay. I think Disney puts their name to it. It's going to be around. It's going to be a thing. It's going to grow a huge community. And, at some point, I'll probably get my hands on some of them myself.
Now, how many are in the set, and how much is this?
I have no clue.
Do you know? You have no clue. Okay, as of right now. Let me know when y'all find out. Uh, 4x4 Rubicon. I agree with Dan. I think it also includes PSA. Why do we need a third party to validate our collectibles and its value? It's a scam. Look at all these Jordan rookie autos slabbed and PSA holders.
Okay, this is interesting. Comment here. Thank you for that comment, Rubicon. So,
thank you.
I feel like, okay, the purpose of the grading companies is to make it easy for us to understand, make it easy for lay people to understand. When I say lay people, I mean people that don't have the knowledge base to look at something and know what it is, right? So that's why these companies exist, so that they can break it down for us. They can put a card in a slab, protect it, and also give it an identification label telling us what it is, that it's real, and what grade they assign to it. And that makes it easy for most people to understand and get into the hobby. If we didn't have these, my God, it would take years to develop the eye to look at a raw card and put a value on it, right? We'd be back in the Stone Age. Back in the Stone Age of hobby collecting, you had your Beckett guide, and the Beckett guide had two prices: mint and non-mint. And there was usually a difference, and you would have to negotiate the value based on your eye looking at that card. And it was just like it was the wild, wild west. You know what I mean? And now with like technology the way it is, where you can make fake cards and things like that, most people don't have the knowledge or the skill level to identify a fake card and assign what they think is a grade for the condition. So that's why we need the grading companies. Same thing with autographs. We need an authenticator to tell us that a signature is real, because obviously, people fake that stuff all the time. It's for casual collectors that just need that. What I think though is the problem is I think that the premium value that we add to these collectibles based on these varying opinions, that has gotten out of hand, in my opinion. And I think that needs to have a pullback. And I don't know. I don't have an answer to this. Maybe like a better system of authenticating this, because I feel like we just have too many experts that have varying levels of experience and give us different opinions about things, and it's causing a lot of confusion in the market.
Junior, what makes people do these things to hurt others because they're mentally sick and they need help?
Yeah, the term I would use is like psychopath, like sociopaths. I think they're sociopaths. They do these crazy things. Like I would never, most people, right, don't do bad things. Most people
right.
have a sense of integrity or a sense of right and wrong. Like people would not, people don't in this, like, just go around and kill somebody. They would feel bad. You know what I mean? They know it's wrong, or steal or hit or hurt somebody. Most people would not do those things. Most people would not cheat other people. You would feel bad about it, right? If you're a good person, or you're just a normal person, you would feel bad or guilty for doing bad things. But some people don't feel that way. Some people have no, what's that word? Empathy?
Yes.
Some people have no empathy, and they could do bad things to people and don't feel anything about it. Those are the kind of people that are doing these things in the hobby. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Just like when you see these people like breaking in cars and stealing people's shit or stealing things from stores, and they don't feel bad about it, they're like sociopaths. You know what I mean? Their level of morality is not the same as ours, so they're able to do these things.
Well, also I believe that a lot of these people don't actually venture out to the card shows, so you don't get to really meet the person one-on-one and see what they're really about. So it's when you don't really know that person, it's easy to talk shit about them. Then when you see someone, and once you befriend someone, it's a little harder to do. John Holt, best show out. Thank you, John. Exactly. See, John wouldn't do that to us. Jack Thomas, hey guys, hope you're doing well. I was set up at the Burbank show. My wrestling was crazy liquid on Saturday. So it was mine, buddy. I think you were at my table.
Actually, I didn't sell any. I barely sold any wrestling cards at all.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy, Dan.
The biggest seller for me, Hello Kitty cards. Believe it or not, the biggest seller, Hello Kitty cards. It's crazy, guys.
Don't be fooled. Self-proclamation and titles as watchdogs are usually just part of the con. If you really are honest, ethical, or righteous, you shouldn't have to tell us.
I agree.
No, I agree.
That's what I'm saying, guys. These guys that claim to be watchdogs in the hobby, you know who you are. I know you're watching this. You're gonna make a video about it. Okay. If you're really if you're really altruistic and you really want to do good, you don't go around telling people about that stuff. Okay.
They're just keyboard warriors, dude.
Yeah. You let your actions speak for you. But just like everybody in the hobby that makes content, this is a discussion we're going to have at some point too. Everybody in the hobby space that makes content, they're doing it for a reason. It's either they want money, monetizing, clout, opportunities, whatever, fame, whatever. Everybody makes content for a reason. The reason we make content is for us to get opportunities to buy, sell, and trade cards. You know, that's no secret.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? But these guys that don't buy, sell, and trade cards, but they still make a lot of content in hobby, they're after something else, which is okay. Whatever it is, it's okay. Everybody has their own self-motivations, but we can't just like, you know, especially if they're trying to be anonymous or whatever, we cannot just assume that these are angels here to protect us or whatever it is, right? Because everybody has their own motivation for doing something. Right. So we just have to understand that.
They have their own incentive.
Yes.
Chunky Ching on. Hey, Dallas Card Show, Lego. Or let's go. Or
let's
Lego?
go.
Let's go. Okay. Chunky Ching on. Let's go. Let's get it, boys. I'll see you guys in Dallas. Okay, Chunky. JMF Collectibles, sending your sticker to PSA.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
You should send it JMF. Quartz St. Cards. Love the Swift. Thank you, buddy. Carlos, nice Spidey. Mark the Collector, weak national should come to Vegas instead.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Casinos do not mix with card shows because people in the hobby, guys, listen to me when I say this. Mark,
even if it's the national?
Yes, I'm telling you. The hobby is a bunch of degenerate gamblers, okay? Breaking is gambling. Breaking is
gambling,
like
yes. Opening a pack is gambling.
Breaking is like playing roulette, okay? That's what breaking is. Ripping packs on your own, buying boxes, cracking and sending it in to get graded and not knowing what the grade is going to be. You know, all this stuff is gambling. We are degenerates. And you don't want to put degenerate people with addictive personalities in a situation like Vegas because we spend all our money. It happens. I've been to like 5 different Vegas shows. It always happens. People go to the show, they get some cash, they go to the casino, try to double it up, they lose all their cash, they come back the next day, they're pissed off, they don't want to spend any money, or they stay out late drinking, they come late to the show and they're hungover or whatever it is. Vegas is not a town. Vegas is not a town for people with addictive personalities, and that's what collecting is. That's what the hobby is. So it doesn't work.
I think that's why it took a while for people to show up on Sunday. A lot of people were hungover on Sunday. Like all the dealers, people came from other parts. Mark the Collector, Dan, you still need to break open some 2023 WWE Select.
I'll get my hand. Maybe this week. We'll see.
He needs a whole case, Mark. Denny Cards. Look here, Denny. Sociopath has entered the chat. Denny, are you a sociopath? Is that what you're saying?
Denny,
you're not a sociopath, man. I've met you. You're not a
Denny's
sociopath.
The worst. Denny is the worst of them. This is another hobby watchdog right here, okay? Watch out for this guy.
Are you doing the watchdog?
He is. He's already positioning himself. This is Denny's right now. This is Denny at home, okay? Imagine I'm wearing big glasses and a 90s basketball hat. He's like,
whoa, what was
licking my chops. He's licking his chops to try to get into that cardboard spot.
Denny, you're going to take it over, buddy? Are you going to take it over, man? Are you going to be the new Cardporn? Denny may be the Cardporn guy. Here's a good cue. Does this hobby draw more sociopaths than the normal population? No. I can tell you right now, no. What do you think, man?
Sociopaths.
You have that look. No.
No, I don't know.
There's some in every demographics.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of bad people in the hobby, to be honest. I think that there's a lot of opportunists, and there's guys that prey on the good nature and will of the hobby. For most people, the hobby is a hobby. For like even though money is always at the front of our minds, profit. For most people, the hobby is about having fun. And making money and trading cards, buying and selling trading cards is part of that, but it's mainly for people to have fun. So I think that most people in the hobby are good people that have a common interest for collecting these different type of things, right? And you're going to have scammers. You're going to have people that will take advantage of us, people, especially people that are overly trusting. So that's why you do need companies, like you do need PSA to authenticate things. You do need company like Veriswap. Here's a plug for Veriswap, okay, to facilitate trades. You do need things like that in the hobby to protect us. And you do need You do need people that will act as watchdogs and will call people out and will do the research and investigation. We need all that. But what we don't need one guy to be the sheriff and arbitrarily, okay, I use that word very specifically, arbitrarily police people. You know what I mean? Because it's too much power. And I think that's what Cardporn had. They had too much power, and it was unfair. The things that they did sometimes I think were very unfair. As much as they did that was good, they did a lot of positive things in the hobby, a lot of positive things, but they also did some bad things. Okay, this is aside from the Jordan stuff. This is aside from that. Okay, if they never even did the Jordan thing, I would say the same thing. They had a little bit too much power that they wielded, too much influence that they wielded in the hobby, and when they used it for good, it was really good. When they used it to help people and to call people out and educate people, it was really good. Yeah. But when they used it to bully people and insert their own opinions about things that they didn't like, it was really bad. It was really bad too.
Oh, we got next, Danny. Scarred Face 824. If you want to trash your money in the hobby, go ahead and pay someone to grade your already graded PSA 10s, only to assign a cute diamond gold sticker on your slab. Funniest nonsense. What's he talking about, Dan?
NBA grading. So here's another thing. Okay, this is a different conversation to have. We're already 2 hours into this episode. We're gonna wrap it up soon, but maybe next week, if somebody wants to, if Scarface, if you want to remind us about this, we can have this conversation. There are so many artificial layers added to the hobby to add value to cards, because people are creating services and systems and ideas to add layers of fat to the hobby that just to make money. Okay, just to make money off of us, telling us that we need certain things in the hobby, right? Whether it's a card that is graded, and has a sticker on it, whether it's an auction house that takes a card at auction and assigns their own additional top 30% value to it, or whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yep. There's many different levels of artificial rarity that are being put on our cards to just add another level of service that we have to pay for, or whatever. And I think that is actually kind of getting out of hands too, but let's have that conversation another time, because that's a whole different story. Some people do value it. Some people don't, you know what I mean? And again, it's just a battle. It's a battle of the experts. Which expert has more knowledge, more credibility than the other, right? Do I care that this guy tells me that this card is in the top 10% of its category? I don't know. Sometimes if it's my card, I care. Yeah, because I'm going to charge more for it. If I'm buying it, do I care? No, because I don't want to pay more for that service. You know what I mean? So it's a whole thing.
Good vibes. Thank you both for signing my Between Two Slabs t-shirt. Always a pleasure meeting you both. Keep doing what you do. Thank you. Good vibes. There you go. There's some good vibes right there. Sending us our way.
So if you guys don't know, we were giving away Between Two Slabs t-shirts at the Burbank Card Show. And those of you that were smart, you took advantage of that. And
thanks to Paper Gemz,
you got a well-designed, high-quality garment that will stand the test of time of fashion. So congratulations to everybody that got those shirts. And it was cool that one of Good Vibes here asked us to sign the shirt, and I thought that was super cool. So anyways, okay, so that's the last comment, guys. I've reached 2 hours. I think we had a great discussion tonight. We covered a lot of topics. It got heated at times, but I don't want people to. I want people to understand that we're not necessarily attacking any people during this discussion. We're just having the discussion, and we're
having a discussion about it.
Yeah. So I don't want us to, I don't want people to say, oh, we're piling on Cardporn or anything like that. But it is what it is. We had this long discussion, and that's what it is. So I thought it was good. I thought we got some good ideas across, and we got some great comments as part of this. So just to wrap things up, Merlin, do you want to talk about last minute shout out to the sponsors?
Yes, make sure you download Veriswap and buy some stuff from Slabmags. We'll have the descriptions below. Make sure you use the password curator to get your discount on Slabmags, and download Veriswap. It only takes 5 minutes, and you can do the best trading ever. And also make sure you go to my channel, subscribe to Merleworld Cards. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok as Merleworld Cards. Even have an eBay account. If you want to see anything on there you like, hit me up on Instagram. And also, that if you didn't know, that Between Two Slabs is also on different platforms on podcasts. You can always listen to it in your car, and those links are in the description below as well. Dan, on to you.
Yeah. And last thing is, we didn't get to this because we had so much to talk about, but next week we are going to be introducing a new sponsor to Between Two Slabs. Here is a preview of it. Our good friend Steve, Mr. Minty, is finally spending some money, and he will be sponsoring us for a couple months going forward. So we will be talking about Mr. Minty and his products starting next week. So there you go, Steve. We'll plan for that, and we'll have discount codes available for you and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll be doing that next week, and that's pretty much it. Make sure you subscribe to this guy here. Let's get him to 1,000, please. Even if you need to make fake accounts, I don't care. Just do it. Get this guy to 1,000, please. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate you guys sitting through this, listening to all this discussion on all these topics. Hopefully you guys found some value about it, and we will see you guys next week.
Dan, have fun in Dallas.